very few tricks in Magic that both don't require any sort of skill on your end and also allow you to get inside the minds of the spectator. And I know I have a bunch of tricks that get inside the mind of the spectator on this channel because they're my favorite types of tricks. The mind is the gateway to the butthole. So I'm going to show you guys a trick today that really doesn't require any sort of much effort on your end, but gets that maximum impact. Just gets it in there. So you have a deck, you take it out, and you tell the spectator that we're going to go through a little bit of an imagination experiment here. You know where this is going. So before you even touch the cards with your hands, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of imagination. So imagine you're holding a deck in your hands and you're fiddling around like people do with cards, like a magician would. So you have the cards and you're going to separate them between the cards with numbers on them and the cards with like pictures on them, like queens, kings, like that. So you're going to separate them in your hands. You got them? Great. Fantastic. You're doing great so far. So I want you to do me a favor and hand me one of those piles, either the number cards or the picture cards. Think wisely before you do it, sir, because that decision might alter the preceding event. So put one in my hand, sir. They let's say they give you the picture cards. You go, that's fantastic. So here I have the picture cards. Now I'm going to throw these up in the air, and what I want you to do is imagine like you're just going to reach into the air, and you have the skill of a small Vietnamese child to just go in there and reach for one of those cards at random. So they go ahead and do that. They mime this. I mime throwing the cards up in the air, and they grab whatever card they want to. In this case, let's say they grab the Queen of Hearts. You go, that's great, but you know what? I'm going to give you the ability here to change your mind. Pretend that we just go back in time a little bit, and I'm throwing the cards up in the air, and you have the ability to change your mind. Do you still want to grab that Queen, or do you want to maybe grab the Jack a little bit? Show the Jack some love. What do you want? What do you say? They say no. I want to stick to the Queen of Hearts that I freely chose, and I go, that's great, cunt. But remember, you could have changed your mind. So you tell the spectator, now that they've gone through this little imagination, they have sufficiently given you the evidence needed to show that they're capable for deck cards. So you ask them, hey, sir, can you deal cards just like this? Can you do that? Do you have the ability? And they say, of course, yes, I have two hands. So then you give them the deck and you tell them to deal the cards one at a time onto your left hand here. So they start doing this and you go, you know what? I'm gonna go one step further here, sir. You can actually deal from the bottom of the deck. So they start dealing from the bottom or the middle. Or you know what? You could even shuffle the deck before you deal the card. So they're just going crazy on your hand at this point. They're putting cards from the middle, from the bottom. They're grabbing cards from places that you didn't even know they had. They have flaps on their person that they're just taking cards and putting on your hand. And they stop whenever they want. Let's say they stop right there because they have free will. So you say, that's great. So I'm just going to leave this here. Now, I want you to remember here, sir, you could have changed your mind. I told you could have grabbed, remember, you could have grabbed the number card. It could have been the number cards being thrown up in the air, but you chose the picture cards. You could have changed your mind to a jack, to a queen, to a king, any suit, but you grabbed the Queen of Hearts. And I want you to remember, you were holding onto the deck the entire time, so you could have dealt from the middle, from the bottom. You could have shuffled the deck beforehand, but you have dealt to one card here. And I want you to remember, you could have named any card, but you named the Queen of Hearts. And then you get the butthole. Then you get the butthole. So that's a trick. I'm sure if you guys have watched this channel, you could already kind of figure out the method at least a little bit. But as far as this is a self-working, pretty much dealt to card. Now, if again you probably figured out the method here. There's a tiny bit of a setup. I don't want to discourage you guys from actually partaking in this tiny bit of a setup. But the setup is very similar to another trick that I have on this channel. However, this one actually requires no effort or no calling or anything on your end apart from just setting up the deck and maybe doing a little bit of a ruse. You do a little bit of a ruse in the middle of the trick, and then that's pretty much it. That's all you have to do, and then you collect that sweet butthole. So pretty much the setup here, we're gonna grab all the cards that have paint on them in this case, all the picture cards. And we're going to set them up in this order. We got Jack, Queen, King of Spades. Then of Hearts, we got, where's the, son of a, God, I thought you think you know all the cards, and then it turns out that you're missing one of them, which is... Found it. There you go. So we got the Jack of Hearts, then we get the Queen of Hearts, then we get the King of Hearts, and then we get the Jack, Queen, King of Clubs, then Jack, Queen, King of Diamonds, and that's your setup. Now, all you got to do is just remember where they are. Remember, the spade has one little point, so therefore these are going to be the first ones. The hearts have two little butts, so they're in the second. The clubs represent 3, and then the diamonds represent 4. That's all you have to remember here. So that helps you remember the location of these cards. So these cards go on top of the deck. That goes in the box, and you're ready. So pretty much you grab the deck, you go through the imagination process here, which of course forces the picture cards. You tell them to imagine they're separating the deck between the picture cards and the number cards, and to hand you either one. Let's say they hand you the number cards. You go, great. So I want you to imagine that you're throwing up the picture cards in the air. You see what I did there? And if they happen to hand me the picture cards, I go, that's great. I'm going to throw the picture cards in the air, and you're going to grab one. So either way, it's communism at this point. Communism. So you pretty much force them to pick any picture card they want. You tell them to reach in and grab one, supposedly from midair, like a small Vietnamese ninja. So they do that, and they say whatever card. Let's say they go for the Jack of Hearts. So you know the Jack of Hearts is going to be in the second group. So what do you got to do? This is the only move. You ready? All you got to do is you have hands. I mean, if you don't have hands, then you really can't do this trick. But you're going to grab the deck and ask them if they could deal the cards like this, if they have the ability to deal the cards. As I'm doing that, what am I doing? I'm eliminating the cards above the card that they named. So if they named the Jack of Hearts, I know that card is going to be 4th from the top. And even if I don't, while I'm dealing the cards, I could just go, oh, those are the spades. This is the first one of the heart, so I know I need to stop right here. There's not really a lot of thought here. So if it's the Queen of Hearts, same thing. If it's the King of Hearts, all the way up to the Jack of Diamonds, you could do it under the guise of just dealing the cards and explaining it. Can you deal cards? Can you do this? Are you good at that? And then of course you're eliminating all the cards to get to the diamonds. So what that allows you to do is to place whatever card they supposedly randomly thought of from the entire deck onto the top of the deck. So if they're going for the Jack of Hearts in this case, you go, okay, can you deal the cards? Is that something you could do? Is that, yeah? And then you put that on the bottom. As you hand them the deck, tell them to pick it up, and they're going to deal cards to you from the top of the deck. So what they're going to do, because they listen to instructions, is that they're going to start dealing the cards. By the time they get to the third card, you could tell them at this point, oh, I should have mentioned, you could actually deal from the bottom, from the middle, you could deal from the top, you could shuffle the deck as you're doing it. You could do whatever you want to that deck and deal the cards, and then stop whenever you want. So they do that, they deal from wherever it is they want. If they find that fupa fold, that they have some cards stuffed into, they could deal from there if they want. Make sure to get some hand sanitizer. But you know what? They stop whenever they want. And you have their thought of card on the bottom of the deck. So we're going to go to our good old friend, the crisscross force. The crisscross. So once they're done dealing, you're just going to grab this pile and stagger it on top of their pile in their hand and tell them, you know what, let's just keep that for a second there. Because I want you to remember, and you reiterate all the fairness of the proceeding here. You tell them, oh, isn't it crazy that you could have reached and grabbed any card, but you happen to have grabbed the Jack of Hearts here, free choice, and you could have dealt from anywhere and you shuffled and you mix. Of course, you're trying to get them to remember what you want them to remember, because they don't have a free will. They don't have free will. So at this point, you can go, but you happen to have stopped at the Jack of Hearts. Now I show the Jack here. I turn this down, and then I just slide that off and put this on top of their half, just so I don't happen to show the Queen of Hearts, and maybe they think, oh, maybe the cards are set up. And here's the great part. Because they're dealing from all different parts of the deck, and because they're shuffling the deck as they're dealing, your stack gets displaced all throughout the card. So they can look at the deck and not find any sort of stack or order or anything like that. So there you go. Thought of card, any stopping they could deal and you got a butthole of a mystery. So you practice that, even though it doesn't really require a lot of practice, and then you get those buttholes. So do all the things, these things, do all those things. Check that out. You could check this out. Exclusive stuff there. Dank memes here. So you could do that, and I'm gonna go water my cards.
See you again when I see you again. 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 When I see you again.